How many of you have seen this book? How many of you have completely read this book? Okay, let's begin from that itself. See, in this book, the author Rhonda Byrne, she makes a point. You know, why only 1% of the population of the whole world holds the entire 96% of the wealth that's been generated? Is it an accident? Certainly not. So they know something which the rest of the people are not aware. And the saddest reality is that these people, the remaining population, other than this coveted 1%, the majority of this population will live their life under this 1% people, even does not or without realizing that secret ever in their lifetime. They'll just keeping on nodding their heads for the above superior 1% of the population. Linking Rhonda Byrne's point to our platform, the UPSC preparation, the same is the situation which happens. While around 10 lakh people apply for this exam, why only 1% of the people are clearing the prelims examination? Like, what's the difference? Every year we see that year by year, the people who started clearing prelims, I mean the veterans, they will be giving back-to-back prelims, like success. They'll be writing mains every year. But why some of the people or the rest of the 99% people keeping on failing? Like we have seen in our lives, many of the people exhausting their attempts, even without writing at least one mains during the entire process. I know many people personally. If they are in OBC, they are having 9 attempts. General, 6 attempts. Exhausting. You just imagine spending 9 years of their life. Actually, it's not 9 years, even more than that. They would have started preparing even before, started their attempts. Around 10, 11 years of their lives, they are spending in some small cubicle-sized rooms in cities like Trivandrum, Delhi, Bombay, with no purpose, nothing being served. You won't be getting any certification or something, sir. You have spent this much years for UPSC preparation. It's not like a graduation course or something. At the end of the day, if you are going empty-handed, that's it. You don't have any experiences in any job. You have graduated years before. Unfortunately, this is the reality. This happens. People go to like extremes like depression and many other things that which I don't want to share in public. They are going to such extreme stages. Why this happens? This happens because, like she said, there is something called a secret. This book has one thing common with our UPSC preparation. You know, after the release of this book, many people learned some insights about the law of attraction. If I elaborate in a way that you may be like understanding it to the root, while we discuss some questions about prelims, maybe it's from a mock test or from a PYQ. Many people, many of the aspirants, they started thinking like interpreting and finally they mark it wrong. They're making things very complex. You know what's the result of this? Question by question, you are making complex, and because you are marking it without having any surety that you have marked the correct answer. After making some lots of guesswork, many like resolving many confusions, and without logic, finally you are marking. You know, in a UPSC prelims paper, you will be getting around 20-25 questions only where you can easily solve. The story of the rest of the questions is different. So, the law of attraction says, what you are continuously thinking, you will make it visible in your lives. You will be attracting those things. If you are attracting complexities after complexities for every question, your thoughts will become like clouded. Only complex way you will be, in those complex manner only you could think. But what about the 1% of the people who are clearing this thing back to back? They are making things plain and very simple. They are stress free. They have reached to such a stage that they won't be even preparing for prelims separately, except for the last 1 month or something. Rest of the time they will be giving for their optional or other GS papers, ethics or essay or things like that. So what's the difference? It requires your eyes to be trained to focus on some very particular things in the question. Maybe some words, maybe some phrase, maybe some optional combination. How you will be trained? You need a guidance. Because otherwise what happened? You give an attempt this time without understanding what are your faults, what are the issues that are happening with you, with your preparation. You are studying back to back all the books repeatedly. How many of you have at least read Lakshmikant 4 times? Please raise your hand. Remaining people at least once? Please raise your hand. Okay, majority. So I guess that many of the people are yet to give their first attempt, or maybe in their first attempt or second attempt. So this is the time. Don't waste any more attempt. You know, once you started wasting an attempt, what will happen? In 2023, if you are unable to cross that line, if you are not able to be in that 13,000 people who clear prelims from those roughly 10 lakh population, if you are not becoming that, what will happen is that you have to deal with all those complexities happening in your life helplessly. You won't be having any income, but you have that passion in you that won't allow you to quit this preparation. You will be preparing again, but without knowing that secret. So this session is all about that. To empower you, to handhold you, to make you in that 1%. See, this is not an advertisement. I'm making it very plain and simple. I've seen people. I've written mains many times. And many of my friends who have already exhausted their attempts, I know what they're doing. I don't want that to happen to anyone else anymore. You know, after publishing of this secret, I'm coming back to that point. When many people, see, many of us might have read this book, but not without getting the insight of this book. Lakhs and crores of people have read this book, and only a few percentage among that 1% successful people, they understood how these things works, how to change our thinking habits, our lifestyle, to attract to things that we crave or desire for. Maybe finding a good soulmate, maybe getting a corporate job, maybe getting a luxury car that we wish for. So many people were able to achieve that. Many broken family relationships were joined together after getting this insight. That means that can happen here too. If that insight, that training is given consistently to you. UPSC every year asks mainly 3 types of questions. The first type, everybody can at least answer, like you'll be feeling it comfortable. Maybe you might be marking wrong, but while you attempt that, you will be feeling confident. Those are the easy questions. Can everybody answer this thing? What's the answer? C. Any other option other than C? No, right? So this is that type of an easy question among those 20-25. Now read the 68th question. This is also from the 2022 question paper. Third question, read. Have you observed that the complexity of question increased a little bit? This is second type of the question. This question requires a little surface knowledge about the concept in economy. So, has anybody reached any answer? Raise your hand. D. 1, 2, 3. Any other option? You have any other answer? D. Okay. Any other options other than D? You can raise your hands. See, you should be confident enough to at least to raise your hand, man. You're going to write this exam. This is from the 2022 question paper. And I have not started even explaining the complex questions. I'm just at the second type of question where UPSC demands you to have at least a surface knowledge of things. So, what's the issue with like why 1 is true? Can somebody say? Can you say why you have approved option 1? I mean statement 1. If the inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy government securities. Actually, why? When will RBI buy or sell securities? When will RBI buy sell security? Huh. Huh. Right. So 1 is wrong. Okay, fine. Then 2. We can reach the answer. Why? Why? Because of the option combination, right? Okay. So this is the thing. So he said it right. Only thing that you need to know here is about the inflation controlling steps of RBI. That's about buying government securities or selling government securities. What happens when RBI buys government securities? It will be pumping money to market, right? So this is the only thing. If RBI pumps money to market again, what will happen? It will increase the inflation. So this is the simple knowledge that you need to solve this entire question. Okay. So this is the second type, a little bit complex than the first type of like Miyawaki type of question. Maybe in 2021 or 2020 there was another question directly like UPSC asked like right to privacy comes under which article? Okay. So such type of cakewalk type of thing you will get. That was the first type, and this is the second type where you will have to have at least some clarity about something. So this is another question. This is another economic question. But what happened here is that this is the another type of question. I mean, you can say it's a subtype of the second type with an increased complexity. See, aspirants prepare for UPSC in like different styles. Some people keep on reading and reading and reading, and they will convince themselves that, okay, I have read it, fine. But what happens is that when you have this question paper in hand, you will be having the application kind of thing that you have studied. You know the concept, but its application in the day-to-day life, what happens with that concept. That happens in such type of a question about nominal effective exchange rate and real effective exchange rate. I'm not asking you to solve this thing. I have displayed this question just to show the type, and I'll come back to this point how we are going to deal with this kind of questions. So this was the second type of question. Now coming to some interesting stuffs like the third type of the questions, which make all the difference. See, for an aspirant, for a normal aspirant, what happens is that when he gets that question paper in hand, the first 5 or 6 questions, if he is unlucky, he'll be having this type of question either, or the third type of question that I'm coming to. So he'll be instantly demotivated. Like he is having no clue. First of all, the application of concept wise, that is not like completely perfect. That application part, he is not that sure. That is the first part. For this type of question. For the other type of the question that I'm going to share with you now, this question or the upcoming questions in this series, in the third type, is the determining questions. Just read this question, 39. You should mind the time as well. You cannot keep on reading and reading. So, did you get any insight about how to solve? You? No. Anybody new? No. Actually, this is the interesting aspect of UPSC. This does not happen with any other competitive exams in India. You know why? Why UPSC has given this question? Don't worry that you don't know this question, because when this question came, no aspirant in India knew the answer of this. Don't feel demotivated. Nobody knew the answer. No single person knew the answer. But the people who passed, including me that time, has attempted this question and got it correct. So what's that thing? What's that insight? Where you have to focus. See, you have the answer here itself. They have given you the answer in the question paper itself. Only thing is that you are not properly looking at the answer. You are given things in front, but your eyes are scattered. It's not focused. So where you have to focus? What if I tell you that if you focus on a certain phrase in this, like if you can take advantage of a loophole in this statement, you can easily clear this statement even with zero knowledge about Saint Xavier or Jesuit or anything. Just try. Just brainstorm. Why I am explaining about this question is because every year, I'm not just bluffing. Every year you will get at least 4 to 5 questions of this category. I'll tell you the strategy in detail. But there are different types of these third type questions where you use your logical skills. And I must make it concrete, clear that what logical skill that I am telling is not the thing that you find in the YouTube links and all, logical elimination kind of stuff. Gone are of this. Like these people, what will say normally, see, I am not blaming or criticizing any people, but I have seen people who have depended on these logical elimination skills in YouTube's. Like many people are like uploading many videos about logical eliminations. They'll tell that if there is a phrase called only, you can mark it wrong. If there is some extreme statement, you can mark it wrong. If there is some science and technology question, you can mark all the above. Gone are those days. See, you should understand one thing. UPSC is seeing everything. Everything under the preparation market. They are in strict vigil of those things. They will be having a panel of the people who are very expert, and they are dedicated only to prepare this question paper. They use the entire year only to prepare this question paper. That's why you are getting questions even from the previous month, just before the prelims. So right from the beginning of the year till 1 week before prelims, I mean at least 1 month before the prelims, they are strictly looking at the things that are happening in the coaching industry. That's why many of the current affairs materials that are provided by some renowned institutes, there are no questions are being asked these days. I'm not naming any institute because UPSC have the copies of these things. The second thing is that they became aware of this logical elimination stuff that people are promoting, like about this extreme statements kind of thing. But the logic what I want you to imbibe is not that kind of gimmicks, like focusing on some extreme words or something like that, but the real logic that UPSC wants. You know, UPSC wants generalist people. You know, what's the difference between generalist people and the scholars? The scholars will be able to do things in a better way if that is related to their profession. I mean, their graduation, their post-graduation kind of stuff. But what about generalists? They'll be using all their life experiences, all those things they have observed, all the things that happened in their life and in their like friends or relatives' life. They'll be able to use everything and they'll manage that situation. Actually, this happens in a bureaucrat's life. See, India is a country which is not having that many resources or luxuries to use funds at our will and all. We are a very resource constrained nation. So with the available resources, we have to do the things and put things into work. So when you get a question where you don't have any resources that you have studied and having these kind of surprise elements, we have to find what is the logic behind which UPSC has given this question. You see, actually I have trained some of the people of our institute to think logically. I don't know whether they will be able to solve this question now, but I've seen people getting trained to focus on certain things so that they can like attempt this with confidence without having any knowledge of these things. I would like any person who can volunteer. Can you come over, please? See, it's not like I'm not compelling you that you should be able to reach the correct answer or something, but I have trained here some of people in our institute to think and to focus on certain things while given a surprise question. And we'll see whether she can exploit that loophole in that question. You can come in a way that you are visible in front of the camera and you can see. Yeah. Have you, like, what will be the thought process when you get this question?
സാർ ഞാൻ സിംപ്ലി വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് ആ ഒരു ചർച്ചിന്റെ ബേസിലാണ് എല്ലാ ഇയറും അവിടെ ആ ഒരു ഇത് സെലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആ ഗോവയിലുള്ള ആ ഒരു ചർച്ചിന്റെ ബേസിലാണ് എല്ലാ ഇയറും അവിടെ അത് സെലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്ന് ഞാൻ assume ചെയ്യുന്നു.
So your option would be
ബി.
Can anybody else, you want to volunteer and come and explain? Have you reached any answer? No. Okay, what's your guess? Come forward, come forward.
So the third statement, okay, says that it is celebrated in Goa each year. So if this kind of celebration is happening in Goa, we may know it. So have a chance because it is celebrated every year. So we are not, majority of us are not aware of this kind of celebration. So just a blind guess. I can, in my guess, I just eliminated the third statement because I don't know whether it is right or wrong. Okay. So my option will be A, 1 and 2.
And any other person? Ruha, you can come.
In the second statement, it is given that Saint Francis Xavier died in Goa and church is dedicated to him there. It is obvious that if someone die in a place, that there will be a church which is dedicated for him or her. like that of Alphonse Apala. Yeah, that is obvious that will happen. So there is no need for explaining that statement or implementing that again and again. So this is the loophole which is there. My option will be C1 and 3.
Excellent. Please give a clap. You know what? You know where her eyes focused? And I'll explain what she said once again. Where she looked at is, if I'm telling you, Lord Buddha died in a place, and even without me telling that a stupa is dedicated for him there, you will be automatically knowing that if Lord Buddha died at some place, there will be a stupa over there. If any person, any not normal person, if any saint is dying at a certain place, it is common sense that like a religious memorial will be dedicated for him or her. So if they want to tell that Saint Francis Xavier died in Goa, either they could have like removed this thing because this is already understood. Okay. Or they can say that, oh, 1 second. Or they could have just said that a church is dedicated for Saint Francis Xavier in Goa. The strategy is looking for the unwanted attachments. This will be more clear when I explain you with the upcoming questions. This strategy is very well applied in UPSC questions because this happens every year. I'll show you from the other years. This is actually a 2021 question, previous year question. So, when you find some unwanted attachment in a question, UPSC, the intention of UPSC is that you should be tempted. Okay, because they have already elaborately explained so that you won't find any confusion in that statement. You will think that actually, okay, Saint Francis Xavier died in Goa and a church is dedicated to him there. Like, who told you that Saint Francis Xavier died in Goa? First of all, if Saint Francis Xavier died in Goa, it's natural that maybe a church will be dedicated for him there. So, by you will automatically assume the first part of the statement as correct, and you will conclude that okay, if he died in Goa, then a church is dedicated to him there. But who told that first part of the statement is correct? That's the point. So, when there is an unwanted attachment, you should take that statement as wrong. This thing will be more clear in the upcoming question. So, when you can eliminate statement 2 because of this unwanted attachment that a church is dedicated to him like there, it's an over explanation. By using this strategy, when you eliminate the statement, you will be reaching option C. So, you can directly reach this statement. I mean, this option 1 and 3 will be concretely clear in the upcoming questions, this strategy. Read the question 40. It's a 2016 UPSC prelims question. I hope everybody might have came across the word Gallant IAS. Even you may not be knowing all the clauses in that, but you have heard this thing, right? Great. Is it visible to everyone? Do anybody like to volunteer and just say the thought process that you started thinking when you saw this question? You can come forward. Come. This is UPSC, man. Come forward. You should be active. See, what we are trying to do is to make the preparation process enjoyable. Okay, it's not just the destination, but the journey should be enjoyable. Otherwise, what will happen is that we won't sustain. We will be under pressure. So make this lively. Come. What was your way of thinking? So, like, I will just try to make that. Did you start remembering the famous Lakshmi down or in coaching material? Like, no. So, what was your first thought?
When I start reading the question, I look at the word Gram Nayalaya and Here only civil cases, not criminal cases. A court can hear both cases, right?
Okay, please.
So it's something. First part is correct and second part is not correct. I thought that. Yeah. Gram Nayalas is like some local people's court, right? So it can hear both. So I thought that the first statement is not correct. Local social activists. I am not sure about that statement.
Your answer, please.
Beyond.
Fine. Give her a clap, please. I'm not saying whether she said is correct or not, but I've given this clap for her because to an extent her logic was good. She just compared the ordinary judicial system with Gram Nyayalaya and she was not thinking about what she studied or something like that. This is the problem with the people who are not clearing. They will first thinking, oh, I've studied this somewhere, I knew this, I've heard this, I've seen this. Man, you just focus on the resources in front of you and just try to derive the answer from the question. There is one loophole which can be exploited in this question, which makes it very easy. This is just a cakewalk type of question. Any other person who would like to volunteer? Come. See, I'm not expecting a clear answer or something. I just want to hear your thought process when you see a question.
As per the statement 1, Gram Nyayalas can only hear civil cases and not criminal cases. I think that statement is right because most of the Gram Nyayalas, in my guess, could not hear any criminal cases because it up to judicial, because it involved because it involved crime between a person or between states. When it came to civil cases, it is between a person. So can he? I think Gram Nyayalas can hear civil cases and not criminal cases. Yeah. So no. First is right. Only civil cases, not criminal cases. I think second statement is also true because we can guess that social activists may act as a mediators because it's Grand Nyal. It's a very grassroots kind of institution. Okay. So
It's also a way of thinking. Good. You can. Then any other person, I'll give a clue now before myself explaining this. I just want you people to use the logic that I have explained in the previous question, to use that strategy to solve this previous year question. I promised you that the strategy that I have explained to you could be used effectively in every year's UPSC paper. Just see once again. If you remember what I have explained in the previous question, focus. Don't remember things that you have studied or something like that. UPSC won't give questions after 20 or 25 questions. You won't get questions directly from books. You have to apply your mind. Open your brain cells little more. Think. You know why people hesitate to think? Because thinking is a painful process. If you are not trained to think, thinking will become hectic. You know why UPSC aspirant in the exam hall hesitate to think? They are not sure that even after wasting a lot of time on one question, they will be able to correct it or not. They'll think that, okay, on the first side itself, they are thinking that, okay, I don't remember the clauses of Gram Nyayalaya and I don't find any logic. So if I'm sticking on to this question, I'll miss some easy question. So skip. See, UPSC exam is not for the people who keep on skipping. And UPSC exam is not for the people who started thinking about what I have studied, okay, whether I know this or not. So that question will be evident from the first side itself. Like right to privacy comes under which article? That is the question you can directly mark. The other questions like this, when you in the first side you are not remembering what you have studied, stop thinking about what you have studied. Just use common sense. You will get at the first sight itself, you will come to know whether you know this or not, like Miyawaki. From the word itself, you know that this is the answer. But at the first sight, if you are not able to locate to the answer, you stop remembering about what you have studied, start using logics, or start using common sense or strategies. Okay, you got sufficient time. Can you come and tell your thought process?
ലൈക്ക് എനിക്ക് ഫസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റിലാണ് ഒരു കോൺട്രഡിക്ഷൻ ഫീൽ ചെയ്തത്. ലൈക്ക് ഇതിനകത്ത് ഫസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് തന്നെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്, ആസ് പെർ ദ ആക്ട് ഗ്രാം നായാലാസ് ക്യാൻ ഹിയർ ഓൺലി സിവിൽ കേസസ്. സോ അവർ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് സിവിൽ കേസസ് മാത്രമാണ് അവർ ഹിയർ ചെയ്യുന്നതെന്ന്. ദെൻ അഗെയിൻ ദേ മെൻഷൻ ദാറ്റ് നോട്ട് സിവിൽ കേസ് ആൻഡ് നോട്ട് ക്രിമിനൽ കേസസ്. സോ
Correct. Then about second.
the act allows local activists as mediators and okay, like in ഒരു ഗ്രാസ് റൂട്ട് ലെവൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻ ആകുമ്പോൾ ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് പോസിബിൾ ദാറ്റ് സോഷ്യൽ ആക്ടിവിസ്റ്റിൻ്റെ ഇൻവോൾവ്മെൻറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവും. സോ ഐ തിങ്ക് 1 is wrong and 2 is right.
So, have you spotted any unwanted attachments or elaboration?
Not criminal cases.
Great. So, did you guys get what she said? When they want to say that Gram Nyayalayas can hear only civil cases, then why should they over elaborate that are not criminal cases? If they are telling that Gram Nyayalayas can hear only civil cases, it's understood that they cannot hear criminal cases, right? But they have over explained it, right? They have over elaborated. That means that's a point to tempt us. UPC want to think or divert our thought process. If you are not an able person, or if you are not using the common sense, UPC want to confuse you, because they don't have sufficient seats for every person to sit in the bureaucracy. They just want only 1% people to clear. The cream 1%. The cream 1% who can use their common sense and logics, whose eyes are widely open to observe the things that are happening in the surroundings. That will be more evident in the upcoming questions. So, if UPSC is giving some unwanted elaborations, just understand that it is for tempting you. Here, that for that thing, actually, we can eliminate the first statement. Okay, because of that over elaboration. By eliminating that, now come to second question, second statement. The act allows social activists as mediators or reconciliators. So, the strategy that year by year used by UPSC is that when an aspirant could be able to eliminate, when an aspirant is able to eliminate one statement through his common sense, the second statement are 99.99% it will be true, because they will give a light statement. They won't make all the statements complicated. One statement they will be giving you to use your intellectual and common sense skills. Normally, the neither one nor two statement kind of that option won't be the right answer in such questions. Whether you are using, if you are using one statement, like solving your one statement with your common sense, the second statement, if there is a chance, but I'm not telling that as a rule. If it is an utter blunder, you should take neither one nor two. But if there is a possibility, you don't have any reason to negate it. Like, has anybody have any reason to say that, like, ignore the word Gram Nalaya, consider it as a panchayat or something like that, where few people, gram heads and all sit and solve some disputes. Do you have a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge or even a Sub-Court judge free to sit in Gram Nayalaya? Our judiciary is already understaffed. Okay, so we have maybe thousands of Gram Nayalayas here. You cannot use our judicial person to sit and solve cases in Gram Nayalayas, in panchayats. So what will be the option? The act allows social activists as mediators or reconciliators. Okay, this is like a possible statement, right? You should think that what is the possibility of a statement becoming wrong or right. If it is having more inclination towards correct, you should mark it as correct. That's the calculated risk. You're getting my point, right? So the answer for this is 2 only. Now let me check how many of you started absorbing the thought process that I have like narrated till now. The 44th question. Actually, this is not perfectly like the same question that I was narrating, a little bit different, but you can use your common sense. The people who want to use their knowledge are also welcome, but at the end of the day, we need to get an answer. That's the thing. See, it's like actually, Gram Nyayalayas can hear both civil and criminal cases. The problem, I forgot to explain his thought process. That's actually a very common thought process. When you get that statement, like Gram Nyayalayas can hear civil or criminal cases, his logic was that criminal cases must be dealt with judiciary, right? The problem that he encountered or the misguided thought that happened there was criminal cases does not only include the cases having capital punishment like rape, murder or something. If you are stealing a pen, that's also a crime, right? For the petty criminal cases, that will be dealt in Gram Nyayalaya. For the small crimes, you cannot go to judiciary again and again because they have like big short cases pending, crores of case pending in our judicial system. So you just have to like generalize. Don't fix your thought on such things like, okay, criminal cases is with judiciary. Think the different dimensions of criminal cases. Anything is a crime if you are doing it in such a way like stealing a pen, stealing a sweet from a shop. Okay, such petty issues. I mean, like beating a like another person. That's also a crime. Okay, nobody has the right to interfere in other person's life. So such cases will be small petty criminal cases will be dealt in Gram Nyayalaya. Now this question, use your common sense, and if anybody has read it in some books or something, you can use that aspect as well. Finally, we need an answer. So let me ask you one thing. How many of you will be skipping this question? Like we came through some questions till now. Had this session is not conducted and we were we didn't came through this kind of explanations, and you are getting this question in your examination hall, how many of you will attempt this question? Like till yesterday, today the situation is different, you started thinking in the other way. Till yesterday if you were given this question, how many of you will attempt this question? Raise your hand. Okay, fine. Can you come over? You raise your hand, right? Come, please.
I think the third statement is wrong. It lives in wild and cannot be domesticated. It lives in the wild and cannot be domesticated.
Okay, so
So the statement is it lives in wild and cannot be domesticated. It's a extreme statement.
extreme state.
Extremes cannot be domesticated.
Like, okay, fine. I understand what you're saying, but my concern is that are you reading this statement with the logic that extreme statements are always false, or you find some logics to eliminate, like you explain me other than telling me that this is an extreme statement, so I eliminate it. You reason it out. Why you are
വൈൽഡ്
eliminating?
അത് വൈൽഡിലാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഡൊമസ്റ്റിക്കേഷൻ എന്തായാലും പറ്റുള്ളൂ. വൈൽഡ് അനിമൽസ് ഡൊമസ്റ്റിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും ചില കണ്ടീഷൻ.
പറ്റും.
പക്ഷേ ഇതിനെ അങ്ങനെ പറയുമ്പോൾ
Right. She's right. You know why? You can sit. Her answer was that, like, those who raise hands, please once again raise your hand. What are your options? Once again raise your. What's your option? A1 and 2. Okay. And the other people, same option only. You use the same logic, right? Okay. And the other side, who did not raise your hand, now getting the logic. No. Just focus on one thing. They're telling that it lives in the wild. You see, we are not familiar with the carrier camel, right? Nobody of us, we are familiar with the camels, but they are specifically asking about some breed, carrier camel. Okay, but we are not sure whether it is capable up to swimming so and so kilometer in seawater, whether it survives by grazing on mangroves and all. But we are just focusing your eyes on any weak or sensitive area so that we can like attack that point. They are telling that it lives in the wild and cannot be domesticated. Have you seen tigers being domesticated? Have you seen lions being domesticated? Any animal? Have you seen people like having like pets some poisonous snakes? Okay, if these kind of animals could be domesticated, why a camel cannot be domesticated? Right? You're getting the logic. So don't eliminate a statement by saying that it sounded like extreme, but you have to reason to yourself. I used to say to my students that actually you should communicate in the exam hall to yourself, not by thinking but by speaking in the mind. Okay, I'm eliminating this because I've seen in videos and things in Animal Planet or in say some Arab countries and all, people used to domesticate lions, tigers, etc. Okay, and I've seen people having some weird pets. Okay, normally not normal people won't be using them as pets, but people have this kind of passions about like domesticating such a kind of animals. So if it is that, if that is possible, any camel or any wild animal can be domesticated. So if you are eliminating this statement by reasoning it in this way, rather than telling that it sounded like an extreme, what is the option? 1 and 2. Without having any knowledge about this thing, you easily scored 2 marks. Otherwise, what you'll do? Okay, I think it's like it may not be surviving on mangroves. You'll be like many people think in this way. Without having proper look at the loophole, they'll start thinking, okay, camel live in a desert. Then how can a camel graze on mangroves? Okay, this will, people will think like that. Okay, because at that point now we are relaxed. But in the exam hall, after spending many of the years in studying in a small like room and living away from the families and all, like while all of your friends are in job and luxuries, you are sitting with your books, wasted all these years, you will be having that kind of immense pressure over you. You won't be in this kind of a relaxed position. If you are making this statement wrong, there is very high potential that you won't be clearing prelims that year. So you will be under utter pressure. In such situations, your thoughts will be misguided. Rather than finding the loopholes in the question, you know what normally happens is that when we get a question, first our sight will be, if you are not trained, our first sight will be on certain statements, and we won't like we'll first in the first instant itself we'll decide whether it is right or wrong. Okay, then if I'm feeling that this is wrong, like even in the further reading also that won't change, because I've just blindly fixed that as correct without logically using any like reasons. So what will happen? I've already fixed this as correct. Now I will be like like I mean like if I have fixed this as wrong, I'll be looking at the other option combinations only. Okay, by eliminating 2 like that. So no blind guessworks, no things like okay maybe, or I have read this somewhere, or I think this is correct. How can a camel graze on mangroves? Like that, that are also reasonings. But go for better reasons. UPSC won't use to use your experiences. What experience here? You have seen videos, you have seen in TV channels. Those are experiences. See, this is the only exam which like brains which needs like people to use all of their experiences. Maybe you get an answer from a like while you are traveling just from a flex board, maybe that will be helping you to clear this exam. Okay, this is not only from the books. Books can give some like base surface about that, what we add using our common sense and logic, that will be working. Moving on to next question. Read the 91st question. Let me see how many of yours brain cells has opened up, which were historically closed. I'll read out. First statement, what are the advantages of fertigation in like agriculture? controlling alkalinity of irrigation water is possible. Like the question is about fertigation. How many of you are familiar with fertigation? Raise your hands. 1, 2, okay, 3. See, the thing is that when this question came in 2020, most of the people did not know about fertigation like you only. So don't feel demotivated or think that you are less than someone else. Okay. But how people make this question like familiar to this question is familiar to you. In the next minute, I will prove that you know this question. Please stand up. Just read the read the question. You told that you are not familiar with fertigation, right? Read that question once again slowly. There is a link in that. You at least what I'm asking is not to tell me the meaning of fertigation, but just tell me from the question line itself. Can you derive any meaning for fertigation? Application of. Then again, one more thing is in that word. Yeah, related. They told that it's about agriculture, right? So from the first part you write fertilizer and irrigation. They are combining fertilizer and irrigation. How can fertilizer and irrigation be combined? See, if they are using the sprinkler or drip irrigation, at the source water they can mix fertilizer, right? So at the root nodules, what will happen? Drop by drop, fertilizer and water will be reaching, right? Fertigation. And you should have a common idea that UPSC usually asks about modern things, new thoughts, new methods, new reforms. Okay, in science and technology, in agriculture, in health sector, in medical sector. If fertilizer is if fertigation is an age-old thing, they wouldn't have asked. They want to ensure that you are aware of the modern things that are happening. So you have derived a meaning for fertigation, right? By linking fertigation in agriculture, by comparing that, you may not be knowing the exact meaning, but you were able to get at least a vague idea. Okay, this may be related to this. This may be something related to fertilizer and irrigation, right? So first statement, controlling alkalinity of irrigation water is possible. Is it possible? Second statement, okay, efficient application of rock phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizers is possible. Are anybody sure of that statement? Moving to third statement, increased availability of nutrients to plants is possible, right? Reduction in the leaching of chemical nutrients is possible, right? So not only you, the entire aspirants in India were not sure about this statement in 2020. Not a topper, not a rank holder, nobody else. See, nobody can study up to this micro level, man. We have to just interlink, extrapolate. Now I am telling you one solution for this, which the outside people are not having. Many of the people have attempted this, made it wrong. Some people have accidentally made it right without using logic. But the cream people who are very well versed with the strategies of UPSC and the minds of the examiner has found one loophole. See, actually, there is only one loophole that can be used, that is in this statement. All others are plain statements, right? So this is the determining statement. Find out the loophole.
All phosphatic fertilizers പറയുമ്പോൾ പിന്നെ rock phosphate specialize ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Right. How many of you got that logic? Right. So if yesterday was the day you got this question, you would have skipped or marked it wrong, right? Having no idea about that statement, that may be true, may be false. If they want to say that efficient application of phosphatic fertilizer is possible, they could have, why they are specifying rock phosphate? There are many other type of phosphates, okay? They could have simply said that efficient application of all phosphatic fertilizer is possible. But for tempting us, for confusing us, they have given like efficient application of rock phosphate and all other phosphate. All other phosphate includes this one also. Why they need to specify this, right? So this is a unwanted attachment that you see. This is a 2020 question. Previous questions that I have gave you that from other years. Okay, so this strategy is applicable year by year. Every year this can be useful. That is one thing. Moving on. So if you are eliminating this statement, are you getting the answer? Which one? 1, 3 and 4, right? So without knowing, actually in this actually, even if you are not knowing the meaning of fertigation, you just need to derive some vague idea, like it may be related to fertilizer or something like that. But just from, even if you are not given that idea also, if you have not striked with that idea also, again you can like eliminate this statement, right? Even blindly without knowing the fertigation meaning, because of this over explanation, this is possible. Okay, once you started thinking in this way, this is a new way of thinking. Don't tell me that, like you said, it sounds like an extreme. Give me a reason. The reason is that they shouldn't have told rock phosphate specifically. They could have simply said all other phosphatic fertilizers. That is the reason. So communicate with yourself. Okay, tell yourself that this is the reason why which I have eliminated this statement, and not by like I guess because it's like extreme. Don't say that. Okay,